Thanks for joining us. Pressure is now mounting on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to ban candidates and deregister political parties that participated in electoral malpractice in the primaries. IEBC is set to give its verdict on the over 200 petitions that it received arising from the nominations. Now, according to observers, the only way IEBC can show it is in control of the elections is to crack the whip when it gives its verdict tomorrow. KTN's Arun Cheng kicks off our bulletin tonight with a spotlight on the IEBC.
According to communication from IEBC, there are a number of fake nomination certificates in circulation bearing the Commission's rubber stamp and the chairman's signature. The Commission says it has not issued any certificate to any aspirant as yet and warns the public against being duped by fraudsters. This as IEBC's Tribunal on Disputes Arising from Party Nomination finalizes its report, and ruling is to be delivered Monday morning. Pressure from the civil society is mounting on the Thomas Letangule-led team to deliver rulings on the over 200 cases it listened without fear or favor. Of particular concern by the Kenyans for Peace, Truth and Justice is how IEBC will rule on petition presented to it, touching on how candidates who lost in the nominations were able to get certificates and how violence caused by supporters of different candidates affected the outcome of the exercise.
Commission should also recommend the deregistration of political parties which have engaged in violence and fraudulent practices during the nomination exercises.
According to the group that comprises of various NGOs, the party primaries were a sham and a disgrace to democracy in the country. They say the absence of party register in most parties contributed massively to the failure of the primaries, making it difficult to know exactly if those who participated in the exercise were genuine party members.
The IEBC should be able to sanction political parties whose members engaged in acts of violence and undermining democracy.
IEBC has been listening to petitions lodged by those who felt shortchanged from the nominations and is set to rule on the fate of over 200 aspirants and individuals challenging the nominations of various candidates.
We want to keep the pressure on them and tell them that Kenyans are looking to them to be very firm and very decisive in contrast to what we saw during the nominations.
Among those who will be keeping their fingers crossed ahead of Monday's ruling is Immigration Minister Otieno Kajwang, whose bid to be the first senator of Homa Bay has been challenged by a voter who argues that since Kajwang was once struck off the roll of advocates, he does not fit to be a senator. Nairobi Metropolitan Minister Jamle Kamau is also asking IEBC not to award certificates to aspirants who defected to other parties after losing out in the nominations.
We are not taking this lightly. We know the actions are against the spirit and letter of the various acts that we have, including the Elections Act.
The latest defector who has acquired a ticket from another party is the Siaya governor aspirant William Oduol, who was disqualified from contesting on an ODM ticket together with his rival Dr. Oburu Odginga. Oduol will vie on a national agenda party ticket.
I am the governor nominee for National Agenda Party of Kenya for Siaya County. And with me is my certificate.
ODM and TNA will be also following Monday's decision keenly, since it is from their strongholds that most of the anomalies were reported. Aaron Ocheng, KTN, Sunday night.
Gladwell Otieno, who's with the Kenyans for Peace with Truth and Justice organization, joins us now. Gladwell, thank you for your time. Let's begin with an overview from your point of view of the performance of the IEBC in regards to dealing with political parties and remaining on the election schedule.
Yes. Thank you very much. The reason that civil society has spoken out is because we're increasingly concerned at the way that things were going, particularly in the nominations exercise. We have been concerned not to raise disquiet against the IEBC, to support it and to make sure that Kenyans maintain their high levels of confidence. But having witnessed the way the nominations were conducted, we feel that it's really necessary to speak so that remedial measures can be taken so that the IEBC can realize that Kenyans are watching it, and we expect them to implement their mandate in the interests of the electorate. We were very concerned at the appearance of laxity and indecisiveness and continually bending over backwards to satisfy political parties.
Are you talking about pushing the nomination
nomination deadlines repeatedly? So this level of indecisiveness and obviously the confusion that caused, which led to greater confusion and disquiet amongst the members of the party.
Put yourself in IEBC's position. Given the mass confusion that is happening in parties, were they not to push that deadline to give some sort of leeway, then perhaps we wouldn't have had a nomination in the first place.
You see, what we're doing here is condoning lack of discipline and condoning lack of performance. We have had a series of delays. If you remember the procurement of the voter registration equipment, there was a delay in that. There was executive interference that led to a delay in the registration. That has led to a delay in the nominations exercise. And what we're worried about, this having a knock-on effect. And the general elections are an incomparably complicated exercise. If the IEBC is already folding to pressure during the nominations, how will it deal with the myriad of problems which are definitely going to arise during the general elections? We are not seeing the level of resolve and commitment to enforce the law and implement their mandate fully.
What would you have them do practically to ensure some kind of decency is returned to what was the nominations sham?
Well, what they could have done was to regulate the process. Their mandate allows them to do that. Instead of that, they left it to the political parties to conduct their own nominations as they saw fit, leading to the shambles that you're referring to. So at this rate, at this late date, they're dealing with a multitude of complaints, and we hope to see that they're dealing with them decisively.
What is decisive action?
Decisive action means punishing any infractions of the law.
What kind of punishment are you looking for? Are you looking to see IEBC deregister parties? Is that what you're saying?
I can't prescribe to them the action they're going to take, because they're going to look at things on a case-by-case basis, and they're evidently going to weigh the options at their disposal and the seriousness of the infractions and make decisions. What we're saying is that they must be aware that they must be very firm. We've seen a political culture which is so debased that if there is not decisive action, we're going to go into the general elections and face problems.
Yeah, but it's also about the psyche of the nation. It's the psyche of voters. It is how we ourselves as Kenyans conduct ourselves when we are, going out to vote. And changing that will take time. What do you think needs to be done?
We have done something. We have passed and promulgated a new constitution. And in that constitution, we made it clear what we wanted. A majority of Kenyans made it clear what we wanted. And that constitution has not been amended and it has not been revoked. So those minimum standards as far as integrity in leadership and discipline in the parties should be respected. We know that Parliament MPs misuse their power to water down those standards, but the IEBC still has a lot of room within its mandate.
And you hope to crack the whip tomorrow.
Most definitely.
I must end it there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.